Alright, guys, so today we're gonna be reacting to the worst punishments in history by the. Oh, wait, let me see. Yeah, the worst punishments in history, the Paint Explainer. So let's get to reacting.
Yakuza finger removal, also known as yubitsum. It's a ritual done to gain forgiveness after a member committed an offense to someone else in his group, and it consists of amputating portions of one's own little finger to show sincere apology and remorse to the other. I've put this one as the least painful because it doesn't usually cause lifelong lasting pain, and it isn't deadly, unlike the brutal ones further down the list.
So, how I would beat this? Because I have I have Viltrumite DNA, and I was sent on Earth as a Viltrumite agent to take it over and conquest it. So I have Viltrumite skin, and the machine would just break when it tries to cut my finger off.
Bastinado. Bastinado consists of beating the victim with a light rod, knotted cord, or lash exclusively on the feet. Unlike most types of flogging,
that's kinky. That would just turn me on. But like, imagine if that was spanking your Gaiat. Yeah, I'm just gonna shut up.
It is meant more to be painful than to cause actual injury. Even though if done too harshly or for too long, it might cause the victim to not be able to walk anymore. This one is also not deadly. Pitch capping.
I'd like that to happen to me.
Pitch capping involves pouring hot pitch or tar into a conical paper cap and forcing it onto the victim's head. The pitch was allowed to cool and the cap was ripped off, removing skin and tissue from the victim's scalp, scarring him for life. It wasn't usually done with the intention of killing, but deadly infections after this weren't that uncommon. Elephant's foot.
Okay, so how I would beat that? My hair is like thick, like it's basically a forest up there. So like when the pitch tries to like melt my scalp, it would just like come out of like whatever was forcing it in there, and it will burn the executioners or like the punishers. Yeah, that's how I would beat it.
Also known as gungarao, was mostly used in Asia, specifically India, and it consisted of killing the victim by crushing him with an elephant. There were two variations of this. If the victim was lucky, his head would be placed on a pedestal, and the elephant would crush it, instantly killing him. This wasn't that painful because the victim would die instantly, but the second variation wasn't as forgiving. Some royal members wanted to sit down and enjoy a long show, so they ordered the elephant riders to train the elephants to walk over non-vital parts first, such as the legs and arms. The person would get crushed over and over before the elephant actually walked over his head and killed him. Poina Cully. In ancient...
Okay, so, wait. You'll see how, like,
Rome, those who would kill their own father were first, such as the legs of Fulgia, specifically India, and it consisted of killing the victim by crushing him with an... Some royal members wanted of this. If the victim was lucky, his head would be placed on a pedestal.
So, y'all see how the pedestal is, like, thick. So, at the last second, when the elephant is, about to place its foot on my head and crush it, I would just move out of the way, and if it's a male elephant, I would when the elephant like misses my head, it would just crush the pedestal, and it would like sprain its ankle or something, like it will break its foot. And if it's a male elephant, I would just take the broken shards of the pedestal, and then would just throw it at the elephant's manhood, and the elephant would fall over, and I would do unspeakable things to the trainer on top. And if the elephant was female, I'd do basically the same thing, but except throwing rocks at the manhood. And when the elephant sprained its ankle, I would just get behind it, do unspeakable things, and then do unspeakable things to the trainer. Yeah, that's how I beat it.
And the elephant would crush the show, so they ordered the elephant riders to train the elephants to walk over non-vital parts first, such as the leg consisted of being sewn up in a leather sack with a poina cully. In ancient Rome, those who would kill their own father were subjected to poina cully.
I love my dad, actually. I would never kill him.
It was a death penalty that consisted of being sewn up in a leather sack with a mix of live animals, including a
Alright.
dog, snake, monkey, and a chicken, and then being thrown into water. Roman decimation.
Okay, here's how we will beat it. So, like, you're in there, like, with a monkey, snake, dog, and chicken. So, what I would do, I will go full on Asian mode. I would eat the dog, the monkey, the chicken, and the snake. Then I would, like, use the snake's teeth to, like, rip the sack open, and then I would swim out and escape. That's how I would beat it.
In ancient Rome, when military units or a large group were guilty of capital offenses such as cowardice, mutiny, or desertion,
Juče sam potajno kupila organizator za skladištenje na temu, a da moj muž nije znao. Da vidimo da li mogu da ga
Let me just skip.
or desertion, they went through the process of decimation. A cohort of roughly 480 soldiers that needed to be punished was divided into groups of 10, and
Okay.
each group drew lots randomly. The soldier who picked the shortest straw had to be killed by his 9 friends, often by stoning,
Oh, wow.
clubbing, or stabbing, while the 9 surviving ones had to stay outside the fortified security of the camp for some time. Since the killed victim was chosen randomly, all soldiers in the group were potentially liable for execution,
Okay.
regardless of how guilty they were. Blowing from a gun.
So how I would beat that? I'd like, since I already said I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, like if I just get beat, like if I was to get executed, it just wouldn't work. That's how it will be.
Blowing from a gun is a method of execution in which the victim
Okay.
is typically tied to the mouth of a cannon, which is then fired, resulting in instant death. A description of what happens was given by an English soldier in the 19th century, and he said that the victim's head goes straight
Dude, that was legit Barry from Guts and Black Powder.
up into the air for about 40 or 50 feet. The arms fly off right and left, high up in the air, and fall at around 100 yards distance, while
Damn.
the legs drop to the ground beneath the muzzle of the gun. It's this low on the list because the victim probably doesn't feel a thing, as his death is
Okay.
instant. Basil II.
So how you beat it? You know how like Looney Tunes characters like shove their finger in the barrel of a gun when like it's gonna shoot? Yeah. But since the gun is like gonna be huge, you just shove your in it. And since I already said I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, the gun would explode and kill the executioners. I have the butt that's strong as a wombat's butt. That's basically how strong I am.
Blind journey. Byzantine Emperor Basil II reportedly captured 15,000 Bulgarians during the Battle of Clydon, so he decided to use them as a message to their homeland. He divided the prisoners into groups of 100, and then he had 99 out of every 100 blinded, with the 100th man being blinded in only one eye, so that he could still lead the other
Damn.
99 back home. Bulgarian Tsar Samuel died of a heart attack on October 6, 1014,
Why?
reportedly due to seeing his soldiers blinded.
Damn.
Castor oil poop barrel.
Oh, wait. Would it work since, like, Conquest has, like, one eye injured? Oh, wait, no, like, a knife, I'm pretty sure, doesn't do anything against Viltrumite eyes, like a normal human knife, so yeah.
Making someone drink a lot of castor oil caused stomach pain and made them so sick
Let me
that they
just
could
turn
no
it,
longer
like-
hold their poop together.
Yeah.
They would then put the person in a big human-sized barrel and remove
Okay.
them when the person confessed. This could even go as far as leaving the person to drown in their own body fluids inside the barrel if he didn't cooperate. Immurement.
Oh, okay. So, what I would do is just break the barrel. Yeah, it's that simple. Just break the barrel, pussy.
Immurement was used both as an execution method and as a lifelong imprisonment method. It consisted of putting someone in an enclosed space and really tight space, such as behind a wall, for the rest of his life. If it was used as an execution method, the person would be left to starve to death, while if it was used as imprisonment, they would regularly give the victim food. Rack.
Like the previous one, just break the wall. It's that simple.
The person would be forced to lay on a rectangle-shaped wooden rack that stretched the victim's body by pulling the arms and legs in opposite
Oh wait, I
directions.
know
It
this
caused
one.
incredible pain and could
It's
lead to
like-
dislocated limbs and torn ligaments. It was mainly used as a method to get information, but it could
Yeah.
also be used to tear the victim's limbs out
Executing.
and leave him bleeding to death.
Yeah.
Tarring and feathering.
Like it's either if you like get pulled apart by horses or actual humans. Like I said, I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, so I would just pull the ropes, and like the humans or horses or whatever will get pulled back, and we just crush each other.
Tarring and feathering is a form
Okay.
of public torture where a victim is stripped naked or stripped to the waist, while wood tar,
Oh,
sometimes
damn.
hot, is either poured or painted onto the person. After
Oof.
that, the victim would have feathers thrown onto him, or he would
Even on your manhood? Dang, that's
be rolled
tough.
around on a pile of feathers so that they stuck to the tar. This would not only cause extreme burns to the victim's skin, permanently scarring him, but also psychologically humiliate him in public, as he was meant to look like a giant chicken walking around the street. Choke pear.
So like, let's screw the fact that I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent. So like, as the executioner or whatever is gonna pour the hot tar on me, I'm just gonna get out of the way and he's gonna pour it on the floor. And then I'm gonna shove his face in it until he drowns, like in the hot tar. And then I'm gonna curb stomp him if he's alive, while everybody watches.
It was a metal tool that was put into someone's mouth or booty hole and then made bigger on
Oh, can I get one online? That kind of turns me on.
purpose. The tool would stretch the tissue to the point of no return. Aztecs'
Oh
live artery.
my. Oh. Yeah, dude. This isn't even a torture method for me. That's enjoyable.
When the Aztecs sacrificed people to Huitzilopochtli, the sun god, the
Well,
victim would be placed on a sacrificial stone,
alright.
and the priest would then cut through the abdomen with an obsidian or flint blade. The
Flint? Like, flint is not even that, like, hard. Obsidian is.
heart would be torn out, still beating, and held towards the sky in honor of the sun god. Heretics
Dude, so, as I said, I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent. So, like, when the priest, like, stabs me, the knife part is gonna, like, shoot off and stab him. Or miss. Or I don't know, yeah. Either way, I'm surviving.
fork. It's a collar with
Okay.
2 sets of metal forks at each end. One set was
Oh,
placed
wait, Zach D. Films explained that in one of his, like, shorts.
under the chin and the other at the sternum, and the device was secured around the
Oh
neck.
my
This forced the
God.
victim to keep their head raised, leading to
Oh
severe discomfort
my
and sleep deprivation.
God.
The person would be asked questions or just be left there, while the fork slowly pierced through their neck and jaw, and this lasted until the victim could no longer hold their head raised, causing the fork to pierce through. Rats.
So that's basically like a dog collar, like, imagine that gets put on you and then you get dominated by a woman. Yeah, that's a dream.
Cup. A method attributed to the Roman Emperor Nero involved tying a
Alright,
cup
I
filled
like
with hungry
rats.
rats to the victim's stomach and then
Okay.
applying heat to the bottom, forcing the rats to burrow through the victim's body to escape. In some parts of South America, they used a variation of this method
right.
called the rectoscope, which consisted of inserting living rats into a victim's rectum through a tube, forcing them
Oh
to make
my god, dude. Oh my god, oh my god. When can I sign up for this? Like, oh my god.
their way through the victim's body to get out. Catherine's wheel.
So what I would do for that is like, I would communicate with the rats since I have like experience with Micha. Yeah, like my hamster, that's how you pronounce it, Micha. And I would communicate with them to break like the bucket or tube or whatever they're in, and then we would escape together. That's how we beat it. Easy.
An execution method where the victim's limbs were tied to a large wheel and then struck with a hammer or iron bar, breaking their
Okay.
bones in multiple places. The wheel was placed on display later on, often leaving the victim to starve. Boiling alive.
Dude, like, since I drink milk and I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, the hammer would shatter upon impact so my bones are strong.
The victim would be lowered into a large container with a boiling liquid, such as oil, gradually and slowly. The first exposed parts would be the extremities, such as fingers and toes, which have lots of nerve endings and cause incredible pain. Then the skin,
But I'm gonna
muscles, and
for my
fat
agent.
softened and liquefied due to the heat, while internal organs and the flesh got boiled from the outside, making this a slow and agonizing process. In another variation, which is thought to be even more painful and long, the victim would be lowered into a normal temperature liquid, which would be gradually heated until it started boiling. Keel hauling.
Okay, so because I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, so like, and I'm basically invincible. Yeah, put a title card there. Good boy. Wait, but I'm the editor. Yeah, whatever. So because I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, that would do shit to me, like shit. Okay.
Keel hauling was a severe maritime punishment where a sailor was tied to a rope and dragged underwater from one side of the ship to the other, passing under the ship's keel. If the person did not drown or get vital damage from the rusty and sharp wooden body of the ship itself, they would just do it again until the person was no longer alive. It was feared for its brutality. Sawing.
So basically, like, you just take... I'm an undercover Viltrumite agent, but let's screw that fact. So basically, like, each time you take deep breaths, so you can breathe. Not breathe, but you can hold your breath in underwater. Then, when you get, like, tied off so the barnacles cut you, you just basically dodge them underwater. It's easy. My, great-great-great-great-grandfather was put through this and he survived. He's still alive to this day.
As an execution method, the victim would be hanged upside down to make the blood flow to the head, increasing the time the person was conscious. The executioner would then divide the victim vertically into... The victim would be hanged upside down to make the blood flow to the head, increasing the time the person was conscious. The executioner would then divide the victim vertically into two halves, starting from the groin and moving up.
Oh yeah, cock and ball torture. Would that be enjoyable? I know, but since I have Viltrumite DNA, I'm basically pure Viltrumite. My dad is Omni-Man. So basically, like, when the saw starts cutting me, my, like, manhood will start moving to the weight of the saw. Like, if the saw goes, like, right, my manhood will go right. And then it will, like, start blocking the saw, and the saw would break. Easy.
Hanged, drawn, and quartered. This method was used to execute men convicted of high treason in medieval and early modern Britain and Ireland, and it consisted of multiple steps. The convicted traitor was tied to a wooden board and dragged behind a horse to the execution site. There, he was almost hanged to death, then mutilated and had his organs removed, before being beheaded and his body divided into 4 parts, just in case he was still alive. These remains were often
How would he still be alive if he's beheaded? That doesn't make sense.
Displayed in well-known places across the country, like London Bridge, to warn others about the consequences of being a traitor. Glastration.
So I have Viltrumite DNA, and, like, the knives would just shatter on impact. It's that easy.
This method wasn't always deadly, but in my opinion, it deserves this spot because of how brutally painful it sounds. It's the method of inserting a glass rod into a man's erect willy and then smashing it with a hammer, causing the glass rod to fragment into multiple small pieces that shattered all over the insides. Bam.
Oh my god, I just... yes. Yeah, I'm probably gonna cut that out or something. So, what if your Peter is like 0.1 inches? Like, would it even do something? Like, that's how you survive. Just have a small manhood.
Bamboo through booty hole. A bamboo would be put inside a person's booty hole, and it would be left there. The bamboo would grow really quickly inside the man, causing incredible pain. It was sometimes left until it exited from the other side. Spanish donkey. This was a sharp...
That would just, like, kind of turn me on, yeah. But, like, let's say it was painful. While the bamboo is growing, you just, like, tense up your booty hole. And then, like, the bamboo will just break. Or, I mean, if it's sharp, just kick it. Oh, you know, you're tied up. Well, break the ropes and kick the bamboo down. Yeah, it's easy.
Angled wooden device on which the victim was forced to sit, straddling it like a donkey, with weights attached to their feet. This would increase pressure and pain on the body, often causing severe injury to the legs and spine until the victim was ripped apart by their body weight. Brazen bull.
So you're like
a metal
PP would yeah. Oh. Yeah, I have ultra my DNA, so it wouldn't really bother me.
Shaped like a real-sized bull was used to lock someone inside and then heated up with fire underneath. The person inside would feel extreme heat and pain while being burned alive, and it was meant to scare others by showing how bad the punishment could be. There were special pipes to make the victim breathe, which also made the screams hearable for the crowd, resulting in a bull-like sound. The steam would leave from the bull's nose for extra realism. Impalement.
Fun fact, when the creator showed that to like the emperor, the king of the country ordered that the creator was put in the bull to test it out. And it was like, y'all have no idea how hot it is in Serbia, so that basically just feels like an average Tuesday for me. Yeah.
The brutal part of impaling, like crucifixion, is that the victim tortured himself. In a famous variant, he was set up high on a stake so that it didn't actually penetrate anything vital so long as he stayed up on his toes, so he could keep it from going any deeper so long as he kept his own weight on his feet. When the victim would get tired, he would slip a little further, and when he felt the pain, he would scramble up again on the already aching and exhausted muscles, only to repeat this process out of exhaustion a little later, and so on, until something vital got pierced. Another variant consisted of the Judas chair, a torture device featuring a pyramid-shaped seat where the victim was placed at the top, with ropes used to lower and suspend their body weight onto the sharp apex. The chair would slowly rip the person apart. Flaying.
That would just feel good. And like, did y'all see how small that spike was? Like, you just clench your booty hole, like for the bamboo one, and it won't do nothing.
Flaying was a gruesome method where the skin was removed from the body while the victim was still alive. This extreme form of torture was used to cause intense, slow pain and suffering, eventually leading to death through shock or infection. The skin, lacking major blood vessels, did not cause rapid blood loss, so victims could remain conscious and endure prolonged agony. It was often considered a meticulous process. And rather than removing the skin in pieces, cultures sought methods to flay the victim more efficiently and completely, sometimes using substances like boiling water to facilitate the process. Blood eagle. This one...
I have built my DNA, so my skin is like very, extremely tough, so yeah, it wouldn't bother me.
It was a brutal ritual where the victim's ribs were cut from the spine and spread out to resemble wings, while the lungs were pulled through the openings, causing a slow, agonizing death. It's short, but it's one of the most brutal ones, in my opinion. Lingqi.
Dude, let's just say, like, you were a normal human. What you do, when they cut your ribs out so it's like the shape of wings, you just start flapping them like a bird. And then you just start kicking the executioners to death. That's what I would do.
Also known as death by 1,000 cuts, it was a famous method used in China to prolong the suffering for as long as possible. There were multiple variations of this method, even though almost all of them included cutting the skin deep enough to cause incredible pain, but not deep enough to allow the victim to lose blood. In one variation, the victim was restrained, and an executioner would pull knives out at random, each with a body part on it. Left forearm, right thigh, left foot, neck, etc. Each time he'd pull a knife out, he would make a cut on that body part. This would continue until the executioner pulled out the knife with the heart on it, and that's when he stabbed the victim through the heart. In another variation, they would tie
So it's basically like gambling.
A fishnet tightly around someone's body and cut off the pieces of skin that popped up in the holes of the net. In the most brutal version, they would bury someone up to their neck, make a cross-shaped cut at the crown of the head, peel the skin back, and pour mercury in the wound. The mercury, through its weight, would separate skin from flesh, and as the person struggled
I had my DNA, so it wouldn't bother me.
to unbury themselves, they would eventually leave their skin behind in the hole.
Oh damn. Like, okay, let's say I have built my DNA, so like the one where they bury you, it wouldn't bother me. Like, okay, but the first version, when they tie you up and gamble, basically. So you break the ropes, tie the executioner up, and then you play with, like, gambling, yeah.
This one is considered by many to be the worst execution method. In this punishment, the condemned person was placed inside a boat or between two boats, lying on their back with their arms and legs protruding through holes. They were force-fed large amounts of milk and honey, which induced severe diarrhea, and their entire body was smeared with the same mixture. This made them attractive to rodents, bugs, wasps, bees, flies, and whatever other animals lived near the lake. They would eat and bite at the victim's flesh. And when the next morning arrived, the boat would be brought back to the coast, and they would force-feed him another gigantic meal of milk and honey, also placing it on him once more. This was done on a daily basis to prolong the punishment for as long as possible. It was reported that the rats would usually try to go into the person's booty hole, and that the method was so...
I was gonna say that this method is brutal until he mentioned the rats going into the booty hole.
So long that it seemed to have no end, with a person surviving 17 days.
Yeah,
this person reportedly had his entire face completely covered with wasp, and his flesh was rotting away, filled with swarms of parasites and worms, all while being covered in his own filth. If you want to discuss this video or suggest an...
Okay, so how I would survive that? So I can communicate with rats like I do with my hamster Micha. So I would basically order the rats to eat like the cockroaches and wasps and everything. And if they don't listen, like, you just shit on them with your diarrhea. It's that easy. And maybe like, oh yeah, and they like feed you free milk and honey. Yeah.
Idea for the next one?
Don't forget, I'm